He
You
never
look
meant the
absolutely
words the
stunning
way
tonight.
she heard
I
them.
feel so lucky to be your wife.
That was the
I love
part that haunted him
I love you
later,
too.
when the house was quiet and the only sound was the slow ticking of the clock above the kitchen sink. As a single dad, jokes were his armor. Humor helped him survive mornings filled with cereal spills, mismatched socks, and the constant ache of trying to be both mother and father to a little girl who still asked why mommy never called. That afternoon, the joke slipped out easily, casually, like so many others. They were standing by the school gate, watching their kids chase each other in chaotic circles. She had laughed first, shaking her head, saying something about how no one would ever marry her now, not with her past and her responsibilities. He smiled, shrugged, and said it without thinking, "I'll marry you." He even laughed after saying it, expecting her to laugh too. But she didn't. She just looked at him for a second longer than normal. A second that felt heavy. He felt it then, a subtle shift in the air, but brushed it away. Single parents learned not to read too much into things. Life was already complicated enough. Later that evening, after dinner, after homework, after his daughter fell asleep hugging her stuffed rabbit, he sat on the couch scrolling through his phone, half watching an old sitcom. That's when the memory of her face came back to him, the way her smile faded, the way her eyes searched his, as if checking whether the joke was real. He shook his head, telling himself he was imagining things. Then, just past midnight, his phone vibrated. One message. From her. He almost didn't open it. Midnight texts were never casual. When he finally did, his chest tightened. "You said you'd marry me. I know you were joking. But I need to tell you something before you forget you ever said it." He sat up straight, heart pounding. The room felt colder. His fingers hovered over the screen, unsure whether to reply. Before he could, another message came through. "I was married once. It didn't end the way people think. And I promised myself I'd never let someone joke about my heart again." He swallowed hard. This wasn't small talk. This wasn't friendly banter between two exhausted parents. This was a door opening, or breaking. He typed and deleted 3 different replies before settling on a simple one, "I'm listening." The dots appeared immediately. She had been waiting. As her messages came in, piece by piece, he learned about the nights she slept in her car, the way she protected her child from truths that were too ugly to explain, the way she learned to smile in public while falling apart in private. Each sentence hit him harder than the last. He realized something terrifying in that moment: his joke had landed on a wound that never healed. And now, he was standing at the edge of something real, something that could change both their lives forever. If this story is already pulling you in, if you feel that quiet tension in your chest, make sure you subscribe, because stories like this only get deeper, darker, and more powerful from here. He didn't sleep that night. Not after reading the final message she sent at 12:47 a.m., "If you didn't mean it, please tell me now. I just needed to know if anyone could ever choose me on purpose." He stared at those words until the screen dimmed. No one had ever asked him something so raw, so exposed. Being a single dad had taught him responsibility, patience, sacrifice, but not this. Not how to respond when someone handed you their broken heart and said, "Please don't drop it." Morning came too quickly. His daughter padded into the kitchen, asking for pancakes, completely unaware that her father's world had tilted overnight. As he cooked, his mind replayed every interaction he'd ever had with her, the shared coffee after school drop-off, the knowing smiles, the way she always lingered like she wanted to say more. He realized he hadn't been joking because he didn't care. He'd been joking because caring scared him. That afternoon, he saw her again. Same school gate. Same noise. Same chaos. But everything felt different. When their eyes met, she looked away first. That hurt more than he expected. He walked over, heart racing like a teenager's, and said her name softly. She turned. He didn't joke this time. He told her the truth, that he'd hidden behind humor for years, that he was afraid of building something just to watch it fall apart, that when he said, "I'll marry you," he hadn't meant it as a promise, but it also hadn't been a lie. Tears welled in her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. She told him she wasn't asking for fairy tales. She just wanted honesty. He nodded. Then he did something that surprised even himself. He said, "I don't know what the future looks like. But if I ever say those words again, I want you to know I mean them." Silence wrapped around them. Then, slowly, she smiled, not the polite one, not the guarded one, but the kind that only comes after years of surviving. That night, when his daughter asked why he was smiling at his phone, he realized something else had changed. Love didn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it came as a midnight text that stopped you cold, and forced you to finally grow up. If this story moved you, if you believe second chances deserve honesty and courage, subscribe to the channel now. Because the next story might just feel like it was written for you. The days that followed felt strangely fragile, like walking across ice that hadn't decided whether it would hold. They didn't define anything, didn't label anything, didn't rush forward pretending they weren't both terrified. But something had undeniably shifted. He noticed it in the way she no longer avoided his eyes at the school gate, in the way her voice softened when she said his name, in the way silence between them stopped feeling awkward and started feeling safe. As a single dad, he'd learned to read small signs, the ones that mattered. His daughter noticed it too. Children always did. One evening, while he was helping her with homework, she looked up suddenly and asked, "Are you happy again?" The question hit him harder than any midnight text. He didn't answer right away. He just hugged her a little tighter than usual. Meanwhile, she struggled with her own fears. Every step closer to him felt like tempting fate. She'd spent years building walls, convincing herself she didn't need rescue, love, or promises. Yet here she was, replaying his words in her mind, wondering if she dared believe them. One night, she almost texted him again, something light, something safe, but stopped herself. She was done chasing words. If this was real, it had to show up in daylight. Then came the invitation. Nothing dramatic. Just coffee. Public. Simple. But for both of them, it felt monumental. They talked for hours, about parenting exhaustion, about guilt, about the strange loneliness of being strong for too long. He told her about the nights he sat in his car after dropping his daughter at school, breathing through the weight of responsibility before facing the day. She told him about the night she realized survival wasn't the same as living. Somewhere between refilled cups and nervous laughter, he reached for her hand, slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. That's when the fear arrived. Real fear. Because this wasn't fantasy anymore. This was two broken adults considering whether they trusted each other enough to risk more pain. That evening, as he walked her to her car, she finally asked the question that had been burning inside her. "If this gets hard, will you disappear?" He didn't answer quickly. He answered honestly. "I can't promise I won't be scared. But I can promise I won't run." Her eyes filled, not with tears this time, but relief. Still, the past had one more shadow waiting to step into the light, a truth she hadn't yet told him, one that could undo everything they were building. And if you're feeling that tension right now, that quiet ache of what comes next, make sure you subscribe, because the next chapter doesn't just test their hearts, it threatens to break them. She told herself she would do it soon. Every morning she woke up with the intention to speak the truth, and every night she went to sleep having failed again. The secret sat between them like a loaded weapon, silent, heavy, dangerous. He sensed it, even if he didn't know what it was. The laughter they shared now had a careful edge, as if both of them were afraid of breaking something fragile. One evening, as they walked together after dropping off their kids, he noticed the tremor in her hands. He stopped, gently asking if she was okay. That was when she knew she couldn't delay any longer. She took a breath that felt like drowning and said the words she'd practiced 100 times in her head. She told him her marriage hadn't simply ended. It had exploded. Her husband hadn't just left, he'd vanished under accusations, courtrooms, and a truth she never shared because no one wanted to hear it. He had been violent. Not once. Not accidentally. Repeatedly. And the night she finally escaped, she ran with nothing but her child and a fear so deep it still woke her at night. She admitted she'd changed her phone number, her job, even her name once, just to feel safe. The silence after her confession was unbearable. He didn't interrupt. He didn't look away. But she saw something in his face she hadn't expected, not judgment, but fear. Not of her, but of what loving her might cost. He confessed then, quietly, that violence had already stolen something from him too. His daughter's mother hadn't died, she'd chosen addiction over motherhood, leaving scars no apology could erase. He'd sworn to protect his child from chaos, from danger, from anyone whose past could drag them back into darkness. The words hung between them like a verdict. She nodded, already bracing for rejection. This was the moment men always stepped back. But instead of leaving, he said something that broke her defenses completely. "I'm scared," he admitted. "But I'd rather be scared with the truth than safe with a lie." Still, fear is a powerful thing. That night, he didn't text. And for her, that silence screamed louder than any argument. Memories flooded back, the waiting, the hoping, the disappointment. She convinced herself this was over. That honesty had cost her everything once again. Meanwhile, he sat in his car outside his house, staring at the dark windows, realizing that walking away would be easier, and that scared him more than staying. Because love, real love, wasn't about avoiding pain. It was about choosing courage when fear begged you to run. If your heart is racing right now, if you feel that familiar ache of will he stay or will he leave, subscribe to the channel, because the next chapter doesn't just answer that question, it changes everything.